going on, YouTube? This is Hurt Collect Comics, back at you with another weekend video. Switching it up a little bit. I know a lot of the last few videos I've done have been me in front of the camera, but this is going to be kind of a haul video, and it's just easier to flip through comics, with the setup like this. So, as always, thanks for tuning into my channel. I appreciate you guys watching my videos. Hope that you guys are all doing good out there. In a video I made not that long ago, I talked about how I wanted to get into the 70s Werewolf by Night, the Bronze Age. And I ended up getting this omnibus from Marvel. I read the first 3 issues, which is the Marvel Spotlight featuring Werewolf by Night, Marvel Spotlight 2, 3, and 4. And that was cool because it kind of gives you the origin of Jack Russell, who is the Werewolf by Night, how he has his powers, which is something that he inherits from his father, this curse. And the story shows you how his mother, before she dies, tells him about his past. And it ends up going on him trying to find this book that was in the castle for his father, who lived in, I believe, England, or no, oh, Jesus, on the tip of my tongue. But I forget where, somewhere within Europe, this book that, will answer some of the questions as to who he, about this curse and how he can possibly get rid of it. So, Marvel does omnibuses good. This is over 1,000 pages, very well put together in color. I enjoyed the first 3 issues, and now about to start Werewolf by Night, his ongoing series, from issue 1 to, I believe, 42. But this omnibus also has all his other appearances, such as his annuals, some of the appearances in, the Marvel magazines, the Black and White Monsters Unleashed. So definitely look forward to continue reading this. I've got a way to go, but very happy to have this in my collection. Marvel Werewolf by Night, so far I'm digging it. Jack Russell, and it's a good reading here. Doug Mensch, I can't pronounce it, to be honest, my bad. Jerry Conway, Marv Wolfman, Don Perlin, and Mike Poog, who did a lot of the pencils in various issues and some covers. But, keep it moving. Got a stack here of some Spider-Man stuff that I picked up. The first few books I got for about $1 a piece. Some, I don't know if these are one-shots or miniseries, but they're Shadowland with Daredevil. This one here is featuring Bullseye. And I don't know how many issues this was. I think that these might have been one-shots, because I also have this here, Shadowland with SpiderMan. This one here is written by Dan Slott. So I don't know, much about these, but they're $1 a piece. The covers caught my eye, and so I bought them. Another #1 here, Powerless. I believe this was an ongoing series, because I did see other issues, but this particular seller who I bought these books from only had issue 1 for sale. So I'll have to try to, if I read this and enjoy it, I'll perhaps hunt down the other ones. Here on the cover we have Matt Murdock as Daredevil, Peter Parker as Spider-Man, and Wolverine Logan. So this, caught my attention. Seems like an interesting trio. So I look forward to reading this as well. The last one I got from this one seller on eBay was a one-shot. This one I know is a one-shot. Siege. And it's Spider-Man versus Venom. I like one-shots, especially if they're done right. You read it, you enjoy it, and then that's it. There are no other issues to chase. So a few other books here. I've always been a fan of What If and Marvel team-ups. So I got a few of those here, all Spider-Man as well. This one here, I believe, is What If second series. What if Spider-Man had kept his cosmic powers? Now, cosmic powers, if you guys remember reading Amazing Spider-Man 328, has a cover with Spider-Man punching the Grey Hulk almost completely off the cover. I believe it was the last issue that Todd McFarlane did for the Amazing Spider-Man run before he stopped and then started doing his own series, which was Spider-Man in, I believe, 91, if I'm not mistaken. But this was a fun read here because it shows what if he would have kept his powers. And it would have been a very different Peter Parker, one who ends up getting very consumed in this cosmic universe powers that he has. And it ends up, his, priority to, help people around the world and be this, bastion for helping, the downtrodden and whatever else he's doing. It ends up, causing conflict in his marriage with Mary Jane, causes a little bit of beef with Thor and Captain America from the Avengers, because while, his heart is noble and pure, it ends up something that he becomes obsessed with these new powers, and he is very powerful, and there's no check in place for him. So this was a fun read. Also here, another What If from the second series. This is What If the Alien Costume had possessed Spider-Man. This was a very fun read, and it basically tells the story if the symbiote ended up actually bonding with him instead of Parker getting rid of him and then it going to bond with Eddie Brock. But it ends up being something where the symbiote craves power, craves adventure, and kind of once he gets all that he gets out of Peter Parker in a battle with the Incredible Hulk, he sees this greater power, and he tries to bond with the Incredible Hulk, and he does. And so the Incredible Hulk ends up being Venom, essentially. And then, after all that power, still craving more, he tries to get at Thor and to get, to bond with a god. So this was a very fun read. This book goes for, I couldn't find one on eBay for less than $10. I ended up getting this for about $13. It's in near mint condition. I need to change out the plastic and the board, but this was a fun read. Next one here, I took out the plastic because I want to show something on the inside. This is a Marvel Team-Up number 40, Spider-Man and Howard Duck. Howard the Duck. This is the second time that they meet. The first time being in Howard the Duck number 1. And this is a fun read. I love Howard the Duck, as you can tell by the slabs that I have up. But this is also a great issue, not just because you get, the typical, oh, woe is me and the heavy sarcasm from Howard, but you also got the neighborhood Spider-Man in there. But this is also cool. You guys, certain books out there, especially when they're CGC graded, if they have the Mark Jewelers insert on the inside, it's always noted. And so if some of you have ever wanted to know what the Mark Jewelers insert is, it is essentially that. Jewelry that you could purchase, and it was an insert on the inside of the magazine. I believe I had a friend on eBay who said that these were only distributed in certain parts of the country, and I believe these issues might have even been targeted towards military bases and stuff like that, where I guess there was perhaps discounts if you were a veteran or something to that effect. But feel free to comment, in the comment section if you have any insight on the Mark Jewelers. But I thought that I'd show that off because, this was the first one that I've come across, the Mark Jewelers insert, and it's always noted, when you submit for grading. Another Marvel Team-Up here. I didn't get a chance to read this one yet. This is Marvel Team-Up Spider-Man and the Mighty Thor, issue number 148, 1984. So I look forward to reading this, perhaps tomorrow. I love Marvel Team-Ups and What If comics. I had these here back in the day, and I don't know what happened to them. I think when I was moving out of my mom's house many years ago, I lost, the original appearances of Carnage. I have the first one of Cassidy, where you get his first appearance when he's in jail. But this is the first, second, and third appearance of Carnage. Amazing Spider-Man 361 is the first appearance, but I got to get that one next. I think my mom may have thrown them out along with some of the other Spider-Man books I have in my collection, but I got these two in a lot from the same seller, and I just want to get 361 now so that I can have, the initial stories of Carnage in my collection. So I love Spider-Man. I'm always trying to collect books that, fill my Amazing Spider-Man, from 200 all the way up to 400. I've almost got the complete Todd McFarlane run, and I have a few books here that were before Todd McFarlane started, 296, with the cover by, I'm not sure who this cover is, but this next one Oh, these aren't the Milgram ones because I have a few other ones, but this is 296 and then 297. So Dr. Octopus in both of these issues. And then the next one, 298, was the first time that we see Todd McFarlane work on Amazing Spider-Man, which I have those as well, and now I have the issues that come before that. And then a few issues ahead of those two, Amazing Spider-Man 290. These are the ones that have got some covers from Al Milgrom, who I'm a fan of. I think he's kind of underrated. I mean, check out this cover here. You know, it's simple, but still very appealing. See Spider-Man somewhere on a construction site with steel beams fighting some kind of a robot. But, you know, I like Al Milgrom's artwork, especially the stuff that he did with Ed Hannigan on the Spectacular Spider-Man, Amazing Pete Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man. Some of those covers that they did as a team, Milgrom and Hannigan, were awesome. This is 292, so got 3 issues here consecutive. Now I just need to get 293 to 295. So the next stuff I'm going to show off here is something that I recently have been getting into. A buddy of mine put me on with this, a friend in Canada. And he sent me from a Toronto Comic-Con last year, Free Comic Book Day, HipHop Family Tree 3-in-1. And this is a series from Fantagraphic Books created by Ed Piskor. And it's signed by Ed Piskor here. My buddy Andrew met him at the Toronto Comic-Con last year. And so I ended up getting a reader's copy and reading this as, you know, just a kind of introduction to what Ed Piskor was doing, basically telling the history of hip-hop, how it started back in the 70s, all the way to the 80s with the Beastie Boys and Run DMC, how Def Jam Records got started with Russell Simmons and Rick Rubin. And this is a very, very well done comic book. Initially with Fantagraphic Books, what they were doing was they were doing basically books, comic books, but in book format, hardcovers, and also in treasury format. When I learned that they were doing them in treasury format, I of course had to get my hands on a copy of those, because if you guys have watched my videos, you know that I'm a big fan of treasury comic books. I love the oversized pages and the feel in holding a book this big. So this is Fantagraphics Treasury Edition number 1, basically telling the history of hip-hop from 1970s all the way to 1981. This is volume 1. As you can see here, it's a New York Times bestseller. And if I'm not mistaken, I heard somewhere in the Twitter sphere or Facebook, I don't remember where, that this is being picked up for a television series, I believe in cartoon format. So this is volume 2, Treasury, Fantagraphics Treasury Edition. Again, artwork and story by Ed Piskor. This is African Bambaataa. And these things are absolutely fantastic. You know, there's beautiful artwork. And if you take a look at the pages, pardon for kicking the camera there, if you take a look at the pages, they have a very old school, vintage kind of a feel to it. They're kind of cloudy and pastel-y dark colors, you know, and there's a lot of history here. This book has gotten a lot of acclaim. So after the success, Fantagraphic Books, based out of Seattle, Washington, if I'm not mistaken, or Washington State for sure, they basically do comic books and different kinds of, you know, adult reading, but in book format. This series, Hip Hop Family Tree by Ed Piskor, was so successful that they ended up putting out essentially their first monthly comic book, you know, ongoing series. And this was just a sampler for Free Comic Book Day. But I ended up buying a few issues off of their website, fantagraphicbooks.com, I guess it is. Google them, you'll find them. And I ended up getting the monthly issues 1 through 7. So this is issue number 1, the standard cover. And if I'm not mistaken, this is Grandmaster Flash on the cover. But what was also cool about these was on the back, they kind of, you know, mimicked Marvel superhero trading cards. And so this is MC Hammer, but it looks like a vintage, superhero trading card. And so the back of each issue has something like that. Then there's also the Kanye West variant. I'm not a big Kanye fan, to be honest, but I do understand and acknowledge his significance in the music industry. But I picked up a few copies of these, #1, first print, thinking that if they do blow up down the line with the television series that might be done, especially because Ed Piskor has been getting so much acclaim, New York Times bestseller, there is a good chance that this might take off. And these are still first prints, available at cover price on their website. So you can get these still for $3.99. And if you're into hip-hop and comic books that are very well written with very vintage, beautiful, supple paper, supple might not be the right word. I'm trying to use words that are not actually in my vocabulary, and I apologize for that. But basically, the pages are very smooth and thick, good stock paper, and, has a very old school nostalgic feel to it. And if you look here, on the side of the borders are all different rappers: NWA, Humpty Dumpty, Flavor Flav with his clock, Kid and Play. You can see the big afro there. So definitely check these out if you're into hip-hop and you desire to know a little bit more about the history. This is Hip Hop Family Tree #2 with a card in the back, Slick Rick, the greatest storyteller. #3, a lot of these books also showcase another thing that was very popular in the late 70s and the 80s, which was graffiti. As you could tell by the title, I love that. I'm a big fan of graffiti. I used to tag when I was younger. I don't do that no more. This one here, #5, with Ice-T on the cover, holding Thor's hammer. #6, I need to show the back of this one. MF Doom. #6, Wild Style, which was a famous movie from the 80s, or the 70s perhaps. Look at that. Look at that. Ed Piskor, brilliant. The Notorious B.I.G., donned out, almost looking like the Kingpin, in the white blazer and smoking the cigar. Last issue here, Hip Hop Family Tree #7, the World Class Wrecking Crew. Apparently these were the original bad boys of hip hop in California, in the Los Angeles area. Dr. Dre, DJ Yella. So, if again, you guys are into hip hop, definitely consider checking this out. You can buy them at cover price on the Fantagraphic Books website. So that's my video. I appreciate you guys taking the time to tune in. Hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. Please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys down the line.